Okay, so we're looking at this question here. It's saying record the following transactions in the cash book. Right? These transactions refer to the bank section of the cash book where the transactions are by check. The secret here is that money coming in is debited, money going out is credited. Remember, the cash book is an asset account. Okay. Yes. So we're going to look at these transactions and we're going to record them in the cash book. All right. So here we have an opening balance of 70,000 kwacha. Okay. So you're going to say this is the opening balance. You're going to say opening balance. This is the cash book, the cash account basically is an asset account. So the opening balance has to be on the debit side. So you put 70,000 here. All right. So we have our first transaction here. Received a check of 15,000 kwacha from Mwap. Okay, so since we received a check, this is money coming in. So money coming in, we're going to have to debit. Okay, so it's going to say debit 15,000 kwacha. All right, 15,000 kwacha. Money coming in. We'll put here Mwap. All right. Yes. The next transaction is we paid utilities of 10,000 kwacha by check. Okay, so it means here since we paid it by check, so it's money coming out. Money coming out, you credit. Okay, so you come on the credit side and you're going to say utilities. Okay, by check 10,000 kwacha. All right. Received 80,000 from sales by check. All right, so here under sales, we're going to put 80,000 kwacha since that's money coming in, so you debit. All right. In the next transaction, a payment of 1,000 kwacha by check was recorded as 10,000 kwacha. Okay, so here we have an error. Okay, a payment of 1,000 has been recorded as 10,000. So here we have an overstated payment. Last week we were looking at understated payments. Here this is an overstated payment. We've paid over. Okay. Instead of putting 1,000, put 10,000. Okay. So we need to correct this error. Visualize it like this. This is our cash book. Okay. So the error was committed. We put, instead of 1,000, we put 10,000 here. Okay. So this 10,000 needs to be reduced back to 1,000. Okay. Because if you have to find out how much was this check overstated by. The check was overstated by, so 1,000 minus 1,000 find out how much was the check overstated by. You say 10,000 minus 1,000. You get 9,000. The check was overstated by 9,000 kwacha. Okay. So we need to correct this error. Okay. We need to reduce this overstatement. So this 9,000. Just hold on. We're on this transaction here. This overstated payment. So since we've overpaid, we need to correct this error. So to correct this error, we need to debit. Okay, because when we debit, you're going to say 10,000 minus 9,000, you're going to get 1,000 kwacha. So the correct amount is going to be here on the debit, on the credit side. Okay, a 1,000 payment. If you credited this 9,000, it means you're going to overstate the payment more. Okay, so whenever you have an overstated payment, first find out how much it's overstated by, then debit. Okay, so we say we're debiting here overstated payment. Okay, debit overstated payment of 9,000 kwacha. Okay, yes. Then here we have a receipt of by check of 900 kwacha was recorded as 9,000 kwacha. Okay, again we have one here. This is now an overstated receipt. Okay. Instead of putting 900 kwacha, they've put 9,000 kwacha. So it's here we're assuming that we've got. So here we've got over. Okay, due to this error, the error is assuming that we have got over. So if we look at the T account here, first things first, we have to find out how much is this receipt overstated by. So you're going to say 9,000 minus 900 kwacha. That gives you 8,100. Okay. So when this error was committed, we debited 9,000. Okay. So this 9,000 has to be reduced to 900 kwacha. Okay. So the way we do that is we need to credit. Okay. I have to credit 8,100. 9,000 minus 8,100, we're going to remain with 900 kwacha on the debit side. Okay. Because if you debit this 8,100, you're going to be overstating the receipt. Okay. You'll be committing the error twice. Okay. So whenever you have an overstated receipt or where the money that is coming in has been overstated, you need to credit so that you correct that error. Okay, so overstated receipt. Okay, stated receipt here. We're going to put 8,100 kwacha. Okay. Finally, there was a dishonored check of 1,000 kwacha. So whenever there's a dishonored check, the assumption is you recorded that someone gave you a check, they paid you by check, but that person didn't have money in their bank account. That's insufficient funds in their bank account. So they pay you by check, you receive that money. So initially you record, I've received the 1,000. Then you go and deposit the check in your bank. In your cash book, you have recorded here, I received a check of 1,000. You go to the bank, deposit that check, and the bank tells you there are insufficient funds. There's no money. This person who gave you the check doesn't have money. So they bounce that check. So you have to come back to your cash book and correct this error of 1,000. Because the person who gave you the money didn't have money. So in order to correct this error, you need to credit the cash book 1,000. 1,000 minus 1,000, 0. Okay, it erases the transaction. Okay, if you debited here, it means now you're saying you have received another 1,000. Okay, when the person hasn't got sufficient funds. Okay, so credit dishonored check, 1,000 watch. Okay, So now we balance out the book. Okay, we see which one is greater, the debit side or the credit side. Definitely it's the debit side because it's got a 70,000 there. Okay, so we add up 70,000 plus 15,000 plus 80,000 plus 9,000, 174,000. You put the total amount there. Okay, 174,000. Then the credit side, we find the total on the credit side. 10,000 plus 8,100 plus 1,000, you get 19,100. All right. So the balance carried down, you go to the lower side, which is the crediting side in this case. The total of the debit minus the total of the credit, 154,900 kwacha. Okay. Then the balance brought down, which is the next month. Okay, you bring this 154,900 to the debit side. So this is the new balance for the cash book. Okay. Yes. Any question?